Well, we just finished watching the screener for Roulette, first rough cut, and it's amazing. I can honestly say it's exceeded my expectations. It's good. There's a lot of work to be done though.
I don't see how they're so different.
Yeah.
If God is within us, then all art or music or poetry is His presence feeding our creative energies. So to study the history of art is to study a timeline of religious devotion.
So you're saying that God uses me to paint pictures of Himself?
Divinity is the ultimate inspiration.
Yeah, I think you're going to need to see it several times to really... I mean, I'm glad that you like it the first time, but, I mean... and I know that it's the second time you guys have seen it. I don't know if it played differently for you, but each time you see it, I mean, you know, obviously the things that need fixing are going to stand out. I can already go, okay, I need to re-edit that sequence. I need to change that around a little bit. But I think that the hardest part of working so hard on a film like this, and I've done a lot of shorts, I've never done, it's my first feature, is seeing it for the first time and going, whoa, you know, we just devoted so much of our life for the past 6 months to this film, and I can't even really look at it objectively. It's really hard to look at it objectively.
And I need to watch so many times, because this first time, I'm not watching it for editing and mistakes and color and audio. I'm watching it as a film the first time. If I sit there and looking and trying to pick things, I miss the whole concept of the film. So definitely got to watch it more times. But
you know, and that's the hardest part of trying to show it is the fact that it doesn't have all of those. It doesn't have the bells and whistles. You know, especially the third act. I mean, I feel that the third act visually, you know, you see between the cuts there are a lot of visual cues, there are a lot of, you know, thematic ideas, mirroring ideas, parallels, and that's great, but it really needs that music to drive it along and just build it to the crescendo so that when you get to that final climax between the three where they're all like, that's where the music is imperative. And you see those shots where it's just like bam, 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 and you need music, you need audio, you need all of those things that serve as underlines, punctuation points. So for me, I'm much more self-conscious about showing the film for those reasons.
The task of audio is a bit larger than I thought it was going to be. It's going to be a while. Yeah.
Bear in mind also that, and I forgot to say this when we started out, but I did not do anything in terms of syncing up audio. I didn't do any work between syncing up camera A and camera B for the express reason that, in my opinion, if this is the first cut, and I'll probably do 3 of them before I'm satisfied, there is no sense in trying to get the audio matched up right now. Right now, get it visually where it needs to be. So there are a lot of places where you're listening to it and you go, what's that hum? Or why can't I hear what's being said? And it's simply, it's just not worth the time right now. We know what's being said.
I want you to see a specialist at Hopkins for a full assessment. Even then, this could take some time to play out.
You know, whether it's getting you and Mike to run crew on the film, or, you know, we hook up with Dan, who's doing the score, and he watches it. You know, when people see it and they instinctively go, okay, this is something I want to put my name on. This is something that will be seen, versus, you know, something that I'll put it on YouTube and hope that, you know, my friends will watch it or whatever. You know, this is something that will be seen. You know, it might not be seen by, you know, billions of people, but it will get out there, and this is a fantastic, fantastic first film to be attached to. So those are the sorts of people, the sorts of personalities that I'm trying to attract to this project.
Honestly, one of my first reactions with film, like looking on into the future, if anybody watches this, I don't see them not wanting to throw money at another project.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't. I don't worry about it now at all.
Because, you know what, for all of the flaws in the film, and I think that I would like to think that about 99.9% of the flaws are due strictly to budget. And I don't even think there are that many glaring things. I just think that it's like, oh, I wish we had a, you know,
there's a lot of camera things I think about. That
just, you know, you're right, exactly. And I'm like, oh, smoother dolly here, or if I'd had more time, if I could have rehearsed more with the actors, we could have did it. But whatever. The point is that those things, to us as filmmakers, we're going to sit there and we're going to notice them. And I think that any filmmaker that realizes, you know, what our limitations were, are instinctively going to look at it and say, oh, well, but I mean, look at what they accomplished with what they were doing. That's really impressive,
Right.
what they did. But I really honestly think that, with that being said, that the average person who watches this movie, it's going to go right over their heads. It's going to be invisible to them. They're
Right.
going to look at it and just be like, oh, wow.
Well, because you're like me. You watch a movie, you're like, oh, I see a reflection. Oh, wait, oh, look at that light, or, you know.
It was like working with Laura and Brian on the film. Afterwards, they were both going, I can't watch a movie anymore because all I can see are the grips standing right off to the side and the lights where they're pointing and everything. And it kind of shatters the illusion.
Lights over there.
Yeah.
But for somebody that's
It
not been
ruins
on a
the
set
magic.
before, they're just going to watch it and they're not even going to think about those things.
Yeah.
They're just going to watch the movie. What I need to do now is I've taken about a week away from the film. I'm watching it again and going, okay, this is just, effectively confirming everything that I feel. I need to redo that scene. I need to do that. Maybe chop a few seconds here and there. But I want to go in scene by scene with, myself, maybe with another editor, another pair of eyes here, and just looking at it scene by scene from somebody else to say, well, couldn't you, yada, 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 and just go through.
A single shot in a 5-round revolver is a 20% chance of discharge. That's a 20% chance of dying or an 80% chance of living. All depends on where you're sitting, I guess. I know where I'm sitting.
There you go. The way I feel right now, even with the movie in its rough form, is I'm looking at it and going, okay, this is where I was and where most of the crew was when we started this movie. And by the end of the shoot, this is where we were. Now, I feel like I'm just warmed up. I'm like, okay, you know what? I did a really good job with that. Everybody involved did a really good job with that. Let's do it better. And let's start out up here and see where we are by the end of the film. I feel like I'm warmed up and I'm ready to go. That was for me at least. That was film school. That was film school. I learned more shooting that film, more of what to do and what not to do, than I did the entire time I was in school.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do it again.
Yeah.
But let's finish this one first.